Hey guys, Pete here. After the Game of Thrones Season 7 finale, I put out some character predictions for the next season. And today I'm going to expand on those and look at the big events I think that will happen in Season 8. Of course, this will contain spoilers about everything that has happened in the first 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, plus educated guesses on what will happen in the final season. If you're not caught up with the entire series, this video won't be for you, so you're going to want to go watch something else. With that out of the way, let's look what makes sense prior to filming getting underway next month. It's worth noting that there are no credible script leaks or production news, so this is purely speculation based on what we've seen, what I think, and what I've read, and you guys can tell me afterwards if you think I'm on the right track or not. So, one thing that's pretty easy to guess is that Daenerys and Jon will arrive in Winterfell along with the rest of the people who's traveling in that entourage. I say probably here because there's important stuff for them to do at Winterfell, and we'll get into where we think that the Night King and the White Walkers are going to go, and it should be fine because Daenerys and Jon are on a boat. They're heading to White Harbor, which is a port near Winterfell in the north. They'll land there, and we know that the Night King just broke down or went through the wall, so they'll be on the move, and I think that just means that Daenerys and Jon will arrive at Winterfell right away, right in the very beginning of Season 8. They're going to have to get things together and get ready for this imminent attack. They'll get there soon enough to learn about what's happened, and we'll see some major reunions, character reunions, which I'll get to in a minute. But I was talking about the Night King, so let's talk about where he'll go. He moved through the wall at Eastwatch, so he'll probably hit the last hearth and or Carhold first. And we got a hint about this from Jon in the Season 7 premiere. He said, if they breach the wall, the first 2 castles in their path are Last Hearth and Carhold. If we look on the map, you can see where those are located and where Winterfell is, and there is a slight chance that they won't even go to Winterfell if they're headed towards King's Landing, say. But we also saw what was probably some foreshadowing when Jon put the 2 young people in front of those 2 castles, in charge of them, I should say. So it was Ned Umber, you remember, and Alice Karstark. They were children, and that may turn out to be a bad choice since those castles would fall either way. But, people can point to that as something Jon did that didn't make any sense. Something that's interesting about the Night King going through the wall that you might not have thought of, it dawned on me a little bit later after the season wrapped up, but people in the north and Westeros in general don't burn their dead, obviously. They bury them. As the Night King and his army move south, they'll probably be raising up thousands of corpses, possibly. We saw quite a few shots of their army lining up at the wall whenever he did his Viseryion show, so we can imagine that a lot of those people died fighting them north of the wall, except maybe the giants, which we do know that giants get buried in relation to the fake Horn of Joramun that they had when they said they found with the giant. And possibly back in older generations, the wildlings buried their dead, but they've been burning them for quite some time now because they've seen them turn. So once they cross into Westerosi soil, they could possibly just bring all kinds of people back up from underneath the ground, which will make for a pretty creepy skeleton army as well, if you think about it. There could be some people that we've heard of in the story that come back, and I think it's a pretty safe guess that people who are fighting against them on the good side will get turned, and we'll see a bit of that throughout the season. Obviously, a White Hodor is something people have talked about quite a bit over time. That could pop up. And just anybody that's dead in the north basically may eventually reprise their role as a white version of themselves. So as I mentioned, when Jon and Daenerys arrive, a series of crazy reunions are going to go down. Most importantly, the one that everybody's been waiting for, and that is Jon and Arya. We've been waiting for that forever, and it's going to happen. It didn't happen in Season 7, which means it has to happen pretty fast in Season 8. These 2 cousins had a very close relationship when they thought they were brother and sister, or at least half-brother, half-sister. If you remember, Jon was the one who gave Arya a needle. He had it made for her as a goodbye present when she went to King's Landing, and they were very close. So I think that there will be a tearful reunion whenever those two get together before the Night King gets there to mess things up. Another one for Jon will be seeing Sam again. They sent Sam away from the Wall to become a maester at the Citadel, and that was obviously before Jon died. So down at the Citadel, I'm sure that Sam had learned about, he knows that he's alive, but he probably heard about the assassination and the resurrection, so that should make for some interesting conversation. Also, we know that Sam and Bran know about exactly what happened with Jon's birth and his parents, Rhaegar and Lyanna, so he'll be there to handle that. And that's going to be pretty exciting if you think about it. Those are two big things that we've been waiting for forever that are going to happen at Winterfell, so that should change things around a little bit compared to the Season 7 Winterfell. And of course, I just said it, but I'll say it again, Bran and John will get together. That hasn't happened for quite some time. If you remember, Bran saw him at Craster's Keep. Jon just found out that Bran and Arya were still alive whenever he got the Raven, and he's going to be super excited to talk to both of them, and I can't wait to see it myself. It should be pretty cool. Another big advancement for Jon's story will probably be when he starts to ride Rhaegal. Rhaegal was named for his father and is the last unclaimed dragon now that the Night King has Viseryion. So we saw this foreshadowed heavily last season when Jon was able to touch Drogon without any issues. Like I said, there's only one unclaimed dragon, and Jon is the only one in the running to actually ride the dragon. Since we know that she and he are the last Targaryens and these are the last two dragons, there's really no question that that's going to happen. Will it happen on the way north, or will it happen when they get there? It depends. I can't really say. I'm sure that it's going to coincide with something very important. Like, he's going to need to convince somebody about something, and this will happen, and that will be the convincer. That's the way I look at it. You figure there's going to be some problems whenever he comes back with the queen and he's been sleeping with her. Maybe that's going to be the thing that's going to stop them from bickering or trying to think about putting someone else in his place if he shows them that he is actually a dragon rider, which is a pretty good thing to have around if you're fighting an army of the dead. Also, in the dragons, Viserion's going to have to be dealt with, obviously. The Night King can't just continue to have that, so I'm sure that it's probably going to be Drogon that takes him on one-on-one and eventually knocks him out. It makes a bit of sense in the same way that Jon riding Rhaegal, because that's his father's name. Viserion was named for Viserys, and Drogon was named for Khal Drogo. Khal Drogo killed Viserys, and I think Drogon will kill Viserion. I'm not sure when that will happen. You would think that that would happen in the ultimate battle, the final stand, and that in that process, the Night King goes down too, but that has a lot to do with that what Sam and Bran find out, and we'll talk about that in a second. The main way that I don't see that happening, the Night King going down with Viserion, is if somehow the Night King loses his mount, but is able to kill Dany and her mount in the process. And one of the things we have to keep in mind throughout this upcoming season is that Daenerys is probably going to have to be pregnant as a result of her sexual relations with Jon. Alright, so I realized when I was recording this that it's going to go too long, so I'm going to break it up into two parts. Going to end part one right here, and then I will edit the rest of it down into a part two for tomorrow, so make sure you check back for that. I'll be doing more Season 8 videos, obviously. Filming will get kicking off, and then I'll start doing ones about that. Plus, individual character predictions are my next thing. So like this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you're hoping to see. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing videos all throughout the off-season. Turn on notifications so you know when they come out. I started a Patreon, so you can check that out. You can get involved in choosing what I do videos on, voting on what you want to see next. And it's, you can start at any level, and it all helps because I need some new equipment and I want to make good videos instead of chasing views. So you know how that goes. You got to follow me on Twitter and my other social media accounts too so we can interact. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you soon.